For me, if you see me out in recruiting, I already know who I'm going to look at. There's no, let me just go check out field 9 and see who's on this field. Tennessee can do that. Georgia can do that. Most schools can. Illinois can do that. Indiana can do that. I don't do that.
Whether you live northeast, west, or south, the best fast pitch info comes from the coach's mouth. Welcome to the From the Coach's Mouth podcast with your hosts, Jay Bolden and Ken Kraus.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the From the Coach's Mouth podcast. This is Ken Kraus, here as always with the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Jay Bolden. Jay, how are we doing this morning?
Doing pretty good there, Ken. Thanks for all the accolades there, but so not true whatsoever. Hey, before we get started today, Ken, if you don't mind, I'd like to send a shout out to one of my clients. Her name is Bria Murphy, and about 10 months ago, they found out that Bria had non-Hodgkin's T-cell lymphoblastic lymphoma, and she plays for the Tennessee Mojo Rosario out of Illinois. Bria has been fighting this for about the last 10 months or so and is starting to make some good progress with it. Her dad reached out to me the other day. She's starting to get a little bit back into softball, which is awesome for her. Also mentioned that they listen to the podcast a lot, and she even sings the amazing jingle that you came up with, Ken. So
That's
I
great.
just want to say a shout out to Bria. Everybody's praying for you. We're super excited that you're on the mend. Can't wait to get you back in the lab there so we can get some pitching going. If anybody's listening and they want to give her a shout out, send her some love, send her some prayers. You can find her on X, of course, at Bria Murphy 31. It's BREAMURPHY 31 on X. And send her some love. Let her all know you're listening and you're wishing her well. And can't wait to get Bria back so that we can get going again and fighting, and everybody's praying for you. So Bria, if you're listening to this, just know that we're all cheering for you, kid. She has a great support system, Ken, and her father, Brian, and her mother, Kristen. I read her Carrying Bridge journeys all the time. They pop up and check in on her. So keep fighting, kid, and I'm excited to get back with you here hopefully soon.
Yeah, Bria, same here. Just good luck with that. I'm glad to hear you're on the mend. Can't wait to see you back out on the field. I'm sure it'll give you a little bit of different perspective. You'll probably be able to help your teammates with some of that stuff too when they complain about how hot it is, or, that they're tired, they're thirsty, they're this, they're that. You'll be able to tell them, this isn't bad at all. Enjoy this. This is great.
Absolutely. So we have an amazing guest today, Ken. The Women's College World Series is upon us right now. It's high intensity, amazing stuff. And we have a guest today that's actually been there. Why don't you go ahead and give some people some information about our amazing guest today?
All right. Well, like you say, today's guest is a name I'm sure many of you are familiar with. She was a first-team All-American for the Tennessee Lady Vols, playing the outfield while earning recognition as one of the greatest slappers ever. Her performance her senior year led her to becoming the school's first ever softball player to earn the prestigious SEC Player of the Year designation. Her teams made 4 appearances in the NCAA tournament, including 3 at the Women's College World Series. In her senior year in 2007, they went to the national championship game. She was later invited to the USA Softball Olympic National Team tryouts, while the Akron Racers made her the 19th player selected in the National Pro Fast Pitch League draft. Following her playing career, she spent 7 years as a Neo-Natal Intensive Care Unit nurse, caring for babies born prematurely or needing other special interventions. Other non-softball career opportunities arose as well, leading her to becoming a pharmaceutical representative with Johnson & Johnson and then a national account manager in the club fast pitch market with BSN Sports Network. Softball was never far from her heart, though, so she became a volunteer coach at her alma mater, Tennessee, as well as a coach and director of Southeast Championship training with the top-tier Fury Platinum Travel Organization. While working at BSN, she received a call from Emory University in Atlanta, offering her the position of head coach for the Eagles. She recently completed her first season in that role and is charged up by what she saw this year and what the future will bring. Ladies and gentlemen, please give a warm From the Coach's Mouth podcast welcome to the one and only India Chiles.
Welcome, Coach.
Thank you. That was a good intro.
Thanks.
I was like listening as if I didn't know who this person was. That was awesome. Thank you.
Yeah. Ken is the mastermind. He's the real legend. So don't let him fool you with me. So he is by far, he's the jingle guy, the radio voice guy, and the amazing intro guy. So we're so excited to have you here. But while we're going here, let's get into it right away. You guys, tell us how the season ended for you.
So this is season 2 at Emory. After season 1, we did not make it to postseason, which is where this program had been. And so the competitor in me was not feeling good about year 1, right? And then you have people saying, oh, you did great, you did this. And I'm like, well, I don't think I did bad, but just getting this team above 500, like we could do a lot more. And then the write-up came from our sports information department. There's like the year's reflection. And seeing it broken down, like this team had a great first year. We really did have a lot of firsts, including like the program hadn't had a series sweep in so many years, and we did that. So year 2, the goal was, let's get to postseason. I got to get this group to postseason. So not only did we get to postseason, but we won out the region, being the number 8 team in the country. We had to come back out of the losers bracket and beat them twice back to back, and we did that. And then we dropped out in the super regional round. So we made it to the final 16 in the country before we ran out of fuel.
Wow, that's fantastic. I mean, that's a pretty quick turnaround. So in the first year, I would imagine you hadn't really recruited any of those players. So it was kind of take what you get. You had more opportunity for this second year, and I imagine that was part of a difference for it. But what were some of the other things you think that really helped you guys to, kind of take it to the next level?
Well, first year, I was hired in mid-August.
Yeah.
So when the team met me, like my first day, they were already here. In school, enrolled, and they got the shocking news just a few weeks prior that the head coach was taking a different position. So they didn't get like a proper goodbye there. So the team was pretty stunned emotionally, right? And a lot of phone calls going to athletic director and administration. Are we going to have a coach and all of this stuff? So there was a lot of getting to know one another, trust. Right? Is she going to come on an interim level? Is she going to stay? There was just a lot of emotions that were felt. So year 1, understanding that, and I have a psych degree from Tennessee in addition to the nursing, and working in the hospital and an intensive care unit, especially with the itty bitty babies, you have to be very delicate with their families, right? They are scared out of their minds, right? So kind of similar to what these kids were going through, who, sure, they could read the bio, they know the name, but is she really going to stay with us, right? Year 1, my goal was, I got to get these kids to buy into family. We are a new family. Find the love, find the trust, find the belief. But first, find the love, find the trust.
Yeah.
And so that was a lot of year 1. And then while I'm doing that, can I start to build some type of culture, right? Can we get out of this is what we used to do into this is what we do now, right? Without, making them feel bad about where they were before, right? But letting them know and trying to uplift them into you guys have a lot more in the tank to give. So the year before I got here, the program was very short on roster. I believe the number was 10, which is pretty unbelievable even for Emory University, like a very prestigious school for athletics.
Yeah.
But 10, what does that mean? Everybody played. They were playing injured. They were playing hurt, right? There were even times that they had to borrow, a volleyball player or basketball player who had experience. And so what I did once we came is I had the freshmen. There were 8 of them here. So that got the team up from, our roster, we picked up some kids, was 18. Yeah, so 10 plus 8, 18. And the freshmen who weren't part of kind of those like Rough Rider days per se, I had them define eagle. Tell me what's significant about an eagle. And so they all got together and they found some really cool courageous aspects of what it means to be an eagle and how eagles soar higher than, and, behead their enemies, their prey, whatever, all of this stuff that's like, okay. And then once they gave their definition, the returners, I said, correlate that, make that relate to what you all went through last year. And so then they started to not hang their head at that experience and being the team without a roster and the team that they almost went 500. They were a couple games short of 500 with 10. And
Wow.
several of them were injured, to believing like we're warriors, like we are eagles. We did that. Right. And so the 8 freshmen found it really cool to now join and be a part of that. And I was saluting them all year on how strong they had to be to get through that year, to show how much they can do with 20, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that was year one. It wasn't easy. It was tough. And again, like there's certain parts of coaching that we don't give a lot of credit to, because you just think of the X's and O's. Oh no, I had to pull in 20 class schedules and figure out when are we going to practice. The prior team, like they would practice in the morning before class. I'm not a morning person. But I'm also like, we don't play at 6 a.m. ever. Right? So their classes were all throughout the day, and it was a headache. And then once I finally felt like I got a schedule together and when we could start practice in the fall, guess what? They're dropping and adding classes. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like it started all over. So there were a lot of things there that were really tough. I had to do all the paperwork and all the trainings for Emory University, so it was a lot of hurdles. Year 2, we had the belief. We got well above 500 in the first year. We pulled in 8 more bodies, with true athleticism to help. And we soared much further than just that goal, of let's get to postseason. We not only got there, we crushed it. So now I told them all in their exit interviews, hey, like the goal is no longer postseason. The goal is to get to the Women's College World Series, because we were just 2 games shy of it. And they seem pretty fired up and encouraged to go home and do what they're supposed to do. So when they get back, we're ready for that.
Well, and I think that if you can manage to do that, then you've got a Hollywood movie waiting for you there. That first year sounds like We Are Marshall.
Yeah.
So you get a little bit, you get a little bit of that, just kind of the warrior mentality and getting everybody through it. And then, you have the next year, and then you come up and you win that Women's College World Series. You've got a nice arc there. Or if you do it at Disney, they'll just pretend that you won it, even if you didn't.
I'm cool with it. I know that's what I told him. I was like, man, this year, I told him, it's like, that felt like a Disney movie winning regionals. So yeah, I hope you're right. I hope we keep it going.
That's great. It's a testament to your culture, to the changing of that culture there. That's fantastic. Now it's just your Emory culture the whole way through from here on out. So that's awesome.
When you're talking about class schedules too, Emory is, I'm pretty sure, is a pretty high academic standard school as well. Kind of one of those top tier type of schools. So that had to make it even more challenging. It wasn't like, these kids were having to schedule basket weaving and stuff like that. They're probably doing some pretty intensive academic schedules.
Yeah, it's very big on medical. So you got a lot of math, a lot of science. What comes with that? Labs. For whatever reason, labs are always in the afternoon, right when a coach wants to practice. The really cool thing here versus my experience. So I got a nursing degree from Tennessee. And I'm going to share this story, but it's not a bash on my alma mater. I love being a Lady Vol. I love everything that was supposed to happen happened exactly as it should have. So my mother is a NICU nurse. I went into college recruiting knowing I wanted to be a NICU nurse. I think it's the coolest unit in the world. At times I thought maybe labor and delivery, but you do both when you're in the NICU. So that was my career of choice. I go on my visit to UT. I let them know I want to be a nursing major. They take me over to the College of Nursing, meet the dean, all the things. While over there, the dean is really excited, and she says, oh my gosh, we've never had an athlete, in the College of Nursing. And I'm just like, oh, I'll be the first. Yeah, right. Yeah, that was like the sign, right? Yeah. So once I got to Tennessee, I'm on the nursing track working with like our academic advisors. I get into the College of Nursing, which is a big deal. It's such a small college. For my junior year, they give me the class schedule. It's full of clinicals. I take it to my coaches. Here's my class schedule. They say, quite frankly, you can't do that. So I'm crushed, right? I'm like holding off calling my family. I don't know what to do. My life is over. I actually had a teammate who was my same year, and she left the team to continue her nursing degree. I have my mother, like, I'm boohoo crying, I'm upset, kind of gather myself to call her. And she's like, healthcare is never going away. You can be a nurse anytime. You can only play college sports one time. She's like, play college sports. You can go back to nursing school. And it was like, wow, you made that so simple, but that is so true.
Yeah.
So I got out of nursing, got into psych. They kept me on a very health focused track. And then I finished my 2 years of clinicals after my 4 years was up. Now, that never sat right with me. One, because I'm a female, but I was raised that way. Like, I have brothers that played sports. It's kind of a different track as far as opportunities through sport professionally. But it never sat right with me that I couldn't do both. And the beauty of me being here and Emory finding me is you can do both here. And
Nice.
Not only can you do both, but this is the #1 program in the country for undergrad and graduate level nursing students,
Wow.
which is really cool.
Yeah.
So and obviously I'm going to continue to get a lot of kids that want nursing because it's the #1 program. So I've got those kids that have clinicals and such, and we just make it work. You have lab, go to your lab. We can figure out when to get your practice time in, because you're not going to go professional in this sport. And they've got big careers waiting for them at the end of, that graduation ceremony.
Absolutely.
So it is a challenge, but there's nothing better than me being able to tell these female student athletes, take the class, Now they're flexible and we work, but I don't mess up anyone's track, towards graduation, because I tell them they cannot take that class. Won't do it.
That's
awesome.
Great. Yeah, I have to ask you one more quick question, with the whole NICU thing. NICU nurse. My nephew's wife is a NICU nurse. She gives the best hugs. Everybody says the same thing. It's just like the amount of empathy. Do you find that to be true? Just generally, NICU, you get a hug from a NICU nurse and you just feel better.
I don't know that anyone's ever told me I give the best hugs, but the empathy piece, absolutely. And really just like if you really want to be humbled, very similar to the young lady Bria story that you mentioned earlier, go walk through a pediatric oncology floor. Go walk through a NICU, that's hard.
Yeah.
That's hard. This is a blessing, what we do, what all of us are doing, right? Shooting this podcast, me going to work with the sport that I love. So you definitely grow a lot of empathy. And there's times where I do need to check myself and soften out. Because I'm like, this is not hard. What we're doing is not hard. But yeah, there's no better career than nursing. They are the true champions. Absolutely. And
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
Absolutely. Awesome. Again, this is already a great episode. The empathy piece is just a part of it. We got to find that sometimes as coaches. We have to.
Yeah.
Yes. And I was going to tell you, I'm at St. Xavier University, and we have a ton of nurses as well too. We don't ever tell our kids you have to miss a class to come to a practice. Like, we want you, we want you to be able to do what you're going to be doing in the future. So, India, I want to get back now. We're going to kind of go back in time here. So, just give us a little bit about how you got your start in fast pitch. Like, where did this all begin for you?
As a player or coach?
Yeah, as a player. We'll get into the coaching stuff a little bit, but we want to know, where did this passion start?
Yeah, little India Chiles. How did little India Chiles get into it?
In T-ball. She started at T-ball when she was 3-4.
Really?
Yeah, playing rec and never stopped. I enjoyed it. I loved it. My parents, they actually celebrate their 50th anniversary in about a week, actually.
Happy anniversary.
Yeah, happy anniversary, Mom and Dad. So there's 7 of us. Okay, I have 6 siblings. So we all were put in all the sports and activities. We got to find something to do other than run through the house. So my parents put me in cheerleading and T-ball. And cheerleading was miserable for me. Very
Why?
miserable.
Why?
I didn't want to have to wear a skirt. And they kept telling me to smile, but I was more interested in watching the game than paying attention to what cheer I was supposed to be doing. My sister loved it. She was like in heaven, but it wasn't for me. So it was like one season I was miserable. I hated it. And my mom was like, well, we started, so you got to finish, but that was it. So my other sport was t-ball. And I absolutely loved it. I was like one of the kids that actually paid attention, right? That would like chase after the ball and like try to hit it hard. So, that went to machine pitch to, stayed in the rec league until I was probably 13, 14 before I did travel. Now they're doing it at like 8. But like 13, 14, came up through the Louisville Sluggers organization for my most competitive days, I'll say. Played for a lot of local teams, but that was my most competitive group, was the Louisville Sluggers organization. And I mean, there was no better sport, no better place to be. I played high school basketball. I enjoyed that. But if I was taller and had more years, I would have most likely pursued that because I love playing basketball, but I was better and could go further with softball.
That makes sense. So you were known as a slapper. Are you a natural lefty as a hitter, or did you convert?
I converted. So I was recruited right-handed at Tennessee, and I played infield. When I went to Tennessee, that stuck true for freshman year. But most of my opportunities were like pinch running, more so than being able to hit or play defense as a freshman. So my end of the year talk was, my coach said, hey, we think you might have a big opportunity to get on the field if you can flip over and like learn this, because like we want to build a team around like the speed game. So in my head, I'm listening and I'm like, heck no, but that's what my coaches told me to do. So they gave me a DVD that even at the time was like really old school. And it was from the University of Arizona, like a teaching DVD. And I took it home.
I think I have that DVD.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My high school coach at Ballard High School in Louisville, Kentucky. I went there every day, worked in the cage. He had a pitcher who had just graduated who agreed to pitch to me like several days a week, windmill, to help me figure it out. And then I went back year 2 as a slap hitter. And then they're like, oh, extra bonus, we're going to put you in the outfield. And I'm like, what is happening to my life? I had only played, I think, maybe 3 innings tops of outfield in my entire career. And that was in travel ball for the Sluggers. And we were heavy loaded on the roster. And it was to allow someone else to get some innings at second base. So I just like went out and stood in right field. So not only did I have to learn how to play outfield, primarily judging balls, but I switched over to the left side. It worked out though.
Yeah,
I'd say it worked out.
A lot of change. You're obviously very adaptable.
Was that Larry Ray? Was that the Larry Ray DVD, slap hitting? I think it was.
Yes.
Wasn't Larry? Yeah.
That is, yeah.
Yeah.
Is that the one you had, Ken?
Yeah, I think so. Yep.
Yeah.
Among others.
I've met Larry a few times. He was back in the day. He was the slapping guru. So
Yeah,
he
for
was
sure. It still is. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. So that's awesome. Nice shout out to Louisville, Kentucky. There, my in-laws live there, and my wife is from there. So
there you go.
Yeah,
that's home.
Can we talk a little bit about your recruiting experience for some people? Like, what you ended up going to the University of Tennessee, but did you have multiple offers? What was that like for you? Because a lot of people that are listening to this podcast are always asking us about the recruiting process, and maybe even give us a little bit about the recruiting process, is what it's like kind of at Emory there if a kid's coming on a visit or something like that, if you don't mind.
Yeah. Okay. I'll give you the short on mine because it's changed. Recruiting has changed since I came through. And I'm going to compare it. My brother, that's 2 years older than me, was kind of my buddy growing up, right? Like we'd go to the same school and whatever. He played basketball. He was a nationally ranked basketball guard. So his recruiting is all my parents knew. And my brothers, all 4 of them played college sports. It is not the same as softball recruiting, not even close. We're talking every single week. There were several coaches at my parents' house sitting on the couch talking to my parents, right?
Right.
I would just come in with my backpack and see this coach and that coach, and like say hi and go up to my room, whatever. So that's all my parents knew. That's not softball recruiting, right? I won Gatorade Player of the Year in Kentucky. To my understanding, the Tennessee coaches were part of that panel or something for selection. And my high school coach was a huge advocate that was not going to not let me go play in college. The offers I had a lot of offers to go play 2 sports. Come here, you can play basketball and softball. And actually, the assistant coach at Tennessee recruited me at a small school. I believe he was at Lindsey Wilson at the time, hard to play 2 sports. So those were like smaller school offers. As far as the big dog schools, U of L did not recruit me. Tennessee and Alabama, I would say. And Tennessee was the one that showed up in the orange, and then we all went to dinner after a game. Of course, they show up for a high school game in like districts, and like the team is like awful, that we're playing. Like it's like a first round, and like, oh, like I'm not going to do good. But they're coaches; they see what they want to see. We went to TGI Fridays afterwards. They pull out the roster. This is who's on the team. This is the stadium that's in the blueprint to be built. It'll be there before you graduate. It was not, but that was, and they really did. They just talked about like they made my parents feel good about I would be okay, that's basketball recruiting. Went on a visit, showed me all the amenities, did all the things, and then I agreed to play. So the biggest thing for me, because I was questioning just going to college, is I didn't want to feel any different than my brother. And all growing up, like the limelight was so big. We're in Kentucky, it's basketball, I get it. But like the way he was celebrated as the best basketball player was nowhere near how I was celebrated as the best softball player. And even on the news, where they do highlights, like Friday night sports and stuff, they would say, India Chiles, Adam Childs' little sister, did this really good in the game. And I'm like, ah. So shout out to him, because he is a big reason I got as advanced as I am in the sport, because I just wanted my own name, right? So that was my experience. Fast forward to Emory, very different. For me, if you see me out in recruiting, I already know who I'm going to look at. There's no, let me just go check out field 9 and see who's on this field. Tennessee can do that. Georgia can do that. Most schools can. Illinois can do that. Indiana can do that. I don't do that, because they have their profile sheet, and it has, a QR code to scan to their profile. It has the GPA. None of that is enough, right? Mm-hmm. Because even a 4.0, you can get that 4.0 a lot of different ways at school. So it's like, what do I need to know? What's on your transcript? What classes are you in, right? Like, did you take the ACT or SAT? What score did you get? Are you in AP courses or IB courses? It's not just 4.0. It's actually not at all. So how I guide my recruiting is who's reaching out to me, because those are kids that already know they want to go high academic. And then it's enough of them. It's a big pool. And then I can kind of narrow that down from there. And if I'm at the game, I'm there to watch a specific kid or specific kids that I know are academically competitive to get into a school like Emory and athletically talented enough, right? But it's a gratuity. Like I try to tell them every year at camp, I cringe when I show up at games because the kids get so nervous, right? Mm-hmm. When that coach gets there, they're like, they're here, right? And they don't understand that they're human. My kids strike out. My kids miss with the fatty over the plate that turns up to be a home run, right? Like, so they try to be perfect a lot of times, or when it doesn't work out, they make an error or something. They think, oh my gosh, that's it. My shot's over, right? And I'm just trying to look at them the same way my Tennessee coaches looked at me. How do they run? How athletic are they? What's the swing look like? Whether they hit or miss, they're on the right team, so I know they know how to make contact, right? Mm-hmm. I'm just trying to look at it like a football combine. What's their skill set? Like, do they have enough that I feel like I could grow them as a player and they would be a good fit for my team?
Well, in India, I've heard coaches talk before that they almost would rather see a kid make an error or strike out so they can see how they react. You know, what's their mental toughness? Do you ever, you don't wish ill on any of the kids, but you're not 100% disappointed if something like that happens.
Yeah, not disappointed at all, because I identify as a trainer. I enjoy training kids. I don't want you at your peak So it's just an opportunity for learning. Yeah, I don't want to see you hang your head, but even if you do, like a lot of times after an error or a strikeout, I try to stay until they get the next opportunity. Because one, if I leave right after that moment, they're done for the game. They think that coach has given up on me, which is not the case at all. I just have to get over to field 1 to watch another kid, right? Yeah. So I try to give them another opportunity to do something positive before I walk away when they see me. But there's a lot to where they are in development, but I don't expect them to be perfect. Now, I don't want to see you throw your helmet, or kick dirt or anything like that. But to show some emotion, sure. Like I'd love to see that for sure. But the biggest thing for me is if it doesn't go in their favor, I try to stay until they get something that works out for them before I leave.
That's great. It's funny when you talk about that, because I even find that if I go out to watch one of my kids play, I try to, as much as I can, I don't wear any softball success gear. I try to kind of stay to the background, because I've found over the years that even though I should be their biggest fan because I'm training them, the kids see me come there and all of a sudden it's nervous. It's like, now it's finals and I've got to do well and I didn't prepare. So, I can only imagine what it's like for them when you come. And they, it means a whole lot more, and it's, means a lot more impact on their future. So, I can imagine how they must feel in those situations.
Yeah.
I was talking to Ethan about this a little bit. And sometimes, like when I go out and recruit, I won't wear anything. I'll wear something completely different and just sit in the stands so they don't even know that I'm there to watch, because I don't want any extra pressure. I just want to see the kid in their kind of natural setting. So I think that's kind of something to do, because usually you'll go there and you'll see everybody got their backpacks and the coaches got all their gear on, and sometimes it's best just to go and sit in the stands and just listen. And plus also I'll do that because then you can hear what the parents are like a little bit, and that's a super important thing, because you're not just recruiting kids, but you're also recruiting families and parents. So that's super important too. India, I want to talk a little bit about your playing career at Tennessee. Like you had an amazing career. You're an All-American, SEC Player of the Year. You helped Tennessee get to the Women's College World Series 3 times. They were runner-up in 2007, the same year that you were the SEC Player of the Year. What was it like? I mean, we have Women's College World Series going on right now. What was it like playing for that championship? Were you nervous? What did your coaches say to you? Like, give us some feedback of what that was like. What was that experience like for you as a player?
Year 1, a lot of nerves for all of us. That was my sophomore year. I think we finished in the semifinal round. So we were just floating, right? Like we went in as the number 8 seed, the 8 teams, and we're just like winning games. But it was a lot of nerves, because it's like the dream come true the whole time there. Sophomore year, we were more used to it. And then my senior year, when we made it to the finals, we've been there a couple times. It's pretty amazing. I'll tell you the one thing that I never got used to is playing in that stadium and catching fly balls in the outfield. Anytime the ball goes in the air, the fans go crazy. Like it's a ball and, it's right at you, but they're screaming like it's going over the fence. Yeah. So I can tune out, all that stuff. Like where we played at Tyson Park, the fans in Knoxville were wrapped around the stadium. So we didn't have enough of the bleachers. They've added bleachers. And now it's standing room only. And they're all, behind me in the outfield, all along the sidelines, right? The only person I can hear is my dad, so I'm like, go in the stands. Like, you can't be over here. And he's not like, he's super quiet dude. Like, he'll just be like, good catch. And I'm like, they go, because I can tune everything out. I can quiet the noise everywhere else. Yeah. But at the Women's College World Series, it never led to like me missing a fly ball or anything, but it's really hard, really challenging. I think they call it like Quiet the Mechanism in the movie, the baseball movie. Yeah. Like that was really hard to do because the fans are so excited. Like it's like a pop up behind shortstop and they're screaming. And I'm like, wait, am I misjudging it? But this experience, the fandom is absolutely amazing. And I'm so happy to see where it is right now. And with like the Athletes Unlimited Softball League getting support, true support from MLB to finally get this sport to the professional level, because the fandom has been there, right? Like When I was playing, the Women's College World Series had more viewers than NBA Finals. That has been true every single year. So it's like, what is holding us back from just getting over that hump of getting these women true professional status? But it's awesome. Like, it's even watching it every year on TV is like goosebumps and just a lot of pride for being one that actually got to go, not once, not twice, but 3 times. I never would have dreamed it.
Yeah, and it was exciting. I mean, I remember, I've been around that long. I remember them talking about you, and you were one of the highlights, especially that championship season. You got a lot of airtime on there. Can't imagine how thrilling that must be.
Yeah, it was cool. I got a lot of airtime. I mean, I was good. I made All-America, but what they announced right before, Ralph Weekly, the co-head coach at Tennessee, he gets so upset because he, in his heart, believed that every year when they announce All-America, those kids don't play well in the World Series. And they announce it like right before the games begin, who made All-America. So he's like, because I think we had 4 or 5 on the field at once. And he's like freaking out, like, this isn't going to go well for us. But I had a torn ACL and a torn labrum, all complete tears, torn meniscus. So I was all bandaged and braced up. So that got a lot of attention my senior year because I missed the first and second round. I didn't play in regionals or super regionals. I came back for the World Series. So my labrum was already torn, but the ACL and meniscus went out in game 1 of regionals. So it was like, the little engine that could to come back in the World Series.
Yeah.
Kudos to the medical team, but it was cool. I'm really happy I got and blessed that I got to get on that field and play my senior year.
So, India, what experiences from from being a player in that situation have you brought over to Emory for your players?
Well, what it takes to get to postseason, right? And you don't know what you don't know, which is why I'm so happy that we got a taste of it this year. There's no going back now. They know, right? And now I will get that leadership from the kids that have been there that will pull these 9 along that are coming in as freshmen, right? Because they've been there. They've seen what the teams are like on that level in postseason, which is like I'm so happy we got over that hill. I do not play the comparison game because that's a pressure that everyone can't take, right? So my experience and what I did and, I never talked that language with my team because I don't want them to think there's an expectation level there for them to do what I did or be me. What I do is I tell them all, be better than me, right? Like, be better than yourself. Compete against your best self every day. The little details of the game is the biggest learning curve. If you want to go to postseason, you have to do the little things right. And we live in this era where we don't like the process that much. Mm-hmm. We want the result, right? We want it to look like what we see on TV. But like the steps to get there are like, I don't know, right? That's hard for anyone, but definitely today, kids just want the answer. They want the calculator. They don't want to show their work, right?
Right.
So getting them to buy in to the little details. And like my infield coach, Dawn Gaffin, is coached at Legacy High School in Colorado forever. Rainey Gaffin, her daughter, pitched and played at Tennessee. She would drive our kids crazy. She's working their butts off in the infield, but they're doing all of the basic drills, over and 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 over. And it took a long time and I'm letting them go. They're whining and complaining, but they're going to do it, right? Because they just want to get out there and hit me a ball, right? Give me the ball off the bat and let me go chase it. And then when it's not going right, and you tell them you got to back it up first, they don't want to hear that, right? Mm-hmm. But I give her so much props for slowing the game down, and she does a good job of slowing me down even a lot of times to make sure that we can get step 1 right before we try to get to step 10. And that's the biggest piece. Like, if you want to be an elite level athlete and you want to go to that Women's College World Series, get to that level, if you leave any step out along the way, it's going to catch up to you when you go up against that really elite level pitcher, or, you're getting that deep ball in the hole with the game on the line, ...
Yeah, it's kind of like, the stories about John Wooden, the basketball coach at UCLA, when, the freshmen would come in and he would teach them how to put their socks on. And it was, and they thought it was ridiculous. They've been trusting themselves since they were 3 years old. But, he said that, the way you put your socks on might make a difference on whether you get blisters on your feet, and that if you have blisters on your feet, it'll affect how you play. So we put them on that way. But it was also just the idea of we have a way of doing things here, and this is what it takes to be a champion. And that's, you follow this, we'll get to where we want to go.
Yeah.
So after your playing career, what was the next step for you? I know we already talked a little bit about you being a neonatal nurse for a few years. Then I think you started your own LLC called Slapper Nation. Did you coach at that time too, either travel ball or college?
I've always done lessons, and like right out of college, I went back home. I worked at Cozier Children's Hospital, and it was like I was getting calls from all over the country asking if I would come and do a slap hitting clinic for the kids because there's not enough teachers around, right? So I never stopped giving instruction and coaching kids, but not on a team level. So even with Slapper Nation, that was the LLC to go across the country and give them, a 1-2 day clinic.
Are you still doing that, by the way? Do you still have Slapper Nation, or do you kind of?
I still have it. I don't go across the country with it. I don't have the time to do it a ton. I held one clinic in Atlanta last year, but I am in the process of, I've said this for so many years, but it's actually like really getting done now, of putting this all online in like an online teaching course so that it's a train the trainer, train your kid, train yourself model so that everyone can have access, because I can't be everywhere. So that is coming from that Slapper Nation brand, actually. But did that. I didn't get into coaching a team until maybe within the last 8 years or so. Sharon Perkins, who's the head coach at Georgia Southern right now, she had stepped out of coaching. She moved to Nashville. I was living in Nashville. We were at the same facility one day, and we look, and she's like, "What are you doing here?" I'm like, "What are you doing here?" We're training kids, enjoying that pace of it. And then we decided to go out one day and see some kids play because we were both not training kids. So we go out to a tournament. We were extremely underwhelmed by what we saw from the team aspect. And so I said, let's get a group together in a big format and just train them, teach them how to take the field. And she said no. And I asked again, she said no. I said, no. And then finally she said yes. So what we would do is I followed like a volleyball soccer model. We got this group together. They all bought in under like Southeast Championship training every Tuesday and weekend. They were in this huge indoor turf facility, and we would run them through to get them up to pace and play in the right way. How do you talk on the field? All the things. And then we suited them up on travel teams. And she kept them until she took the Georgia Southern job and got back in D1 coaching. I got them through the 2025 class. So they're seniors now. I got them through their commits, and then I stepped away from it because this opportunity was here. So I kept them the first year of coaching here as a travel coach. And then they're all good. They're all signed. The 24s are all in college. So stepped away from it. And now I'm just Emory.
And then you did coach for the Fury Platinum 18U national team. Is that correct?
I did. So that was a brand merge with my my SCT or Southeast Championship training group. Yeah.
Got to give a quick shout out to Brian and Maya Merrill for getting us in contact with you. Yeah. So I've worked with Maya a few times with pitching, and Brian, what a great family. And Maya's just a great kid. She's at Cedarville out there in Ohio. She had a great first freshman year. So if you're listening, Brian and Maya, just want to say thanks for connecting us with India today. We appreciate that. So your first college coaching experience in India, was that at Tennessee?
Yes.
What was that experience like, being under the Weeklies as coaches?
It was awesome. They're family. And Ralph had asked me a few times to join staff, and I had said no. And then I finally said yes, because I was thinking back to what my mom said, right? Like at the time I was with Johnson & Johnson, and I left Johnson & Johnson, doing well. And I thought, okay, this college coaching opportunity at this elite level, right? Like may not come again. Say yes, go do it. You can come back to sales anytime. So I loved it. It taught me a lot about the system, right? And the job off of the field, which is all you know as a player, is your coaches show up for practice, which prepared me for this tremendously. But I love being back at Rocky Top. That is forever home. It always feels good to be within that campus and definitely within the athletic department. So it was awesome.
And then were there any other stops along the way collegiately before you got to Emory?
No, I had relocated here because with the BS in sports job, I worked remote so I could live wherever. And I love Atlanta. And, I keep going south. It gets a little warmer as I keep going south. Hopefully, I believe this is the last stop. I'm very happy here and I am truly in love with this university. So no other stops. And I had said, in coaching, because there were opportunities to go up in the coaching ranks at the power level, Division I. But if it wasn't at Tennessee, I didn't really care to do it. I don't want to hop across the country and do all the things. I was very happy there. Here I am, but I'm very happy here.
Awesome.
Was it different going from a big D1 program, a P4, to a school like Emory, a D3 type of school?
Emory wowed me a lot. So when I got the phone call and I met with the athletic director, who is amazing, Keiko Price, and she is a UCLA Hall of Fame swimmer. She was at Illinois prior to here. Like, she's only known power level of athletics. My questions for her were like what I envisioned D3 was, which I didn't think I was interested in. And she's answered all my questions. And she said, let me take you on a visit. Let me just show you the campus. And we walk through this state-of-the-art athletic building that I'm in right now. She takes me down to not the field, but the stadium where Emory softball plays. And here's the coach's office at the field versus the office I'm in now. Here's the players' lounge. Here's the players' mudroom. Here's the players' locker room. And I was totally mind blown. I just didn't think that was ever a thing at Division III. And this school, the amenities that this university has for athletics reminded me very much of the SEC on a smaller scale, right? Like there are Division I schools that don't have, in the power conferences, that don't have a locker room and don't have these amenities. I also didn't know that, right? But it was just all in my head. All I knew was Tennessee. All I knew was SEC, power conference, all of that. And this very much felt like that and feels like that. So there was a lot more similarities and that felt like home being here. That made it an easy yes than anything different.
Let's talk slapping for a little bit, since that's something you were known for.
Mm-hmm.
How do you feel that slap hitting has changed, either good and bad? And it seems like we're seeing less and less of it. There are, still a few, but not like it used to be. Mm-hmm. Even though speed is so important to the game. Yeah,
we're seeing less and less of it, in my opinion, for the right reasons. So when it was huge and everybody was getting 3 or 4 of them on a team, from my lens, there were a lot of fast kids, but they didn't know what they were doing. Right. So I'm watching even on TV, and it's like I'm cringing, these, because there's not enough teachers. Right. Right. So where it is now, I think, is at a very healthy level. And when I spoke at NFCA convention, it was like this thing like slap hitting is dead was like the motto going around. Slap hitting's dead. It's all about the power game. And I remember, oh my gosh, help me out. Arizona coach, not Caitlin.
Oh, Larry Ray?
Nope.
No.
Mike
Caitlin Lowe.
Mike Kendrea. Yeah, not Caitlin. Caitlin and I gave the speech. Mike Kendrea's put out an article, to support slap hitting is not dead. But when I stood on that stage, standing room, it was packed with people who want to learn slap hitting from myself and Caitlin. And I told him slap hitting isn't dead, but it is a fine art. If you were a slap hitter, you were supposed to control the offense. So what does that mean? You got to get on base more than the others, on base percentage, right? You got to get to scoring position more than the others. That's usually stolen bases. And at the end of the year, you should have more runs scored than everyone else. So that's how you're controlling the offensive side for your team. So where it is now, truly being that art, it's no different than your power pitching. So if we say slap hitting's dead, we need to say pitching is dead. because everybody has pitchers, but how many of them are really elite? There's very few, and we're watching them on TV right now, right?
Yeah.
So like they're controlling the defensive side of the game very well, right? So like, Texas, and also where you see these lefties, seems like so many lineups are lefty dominant, so many lefties coming up. Most of those kids, the huge majority of those kids were slap hitters one day. They've just grown into women, and like lost some foot speed, but also once you've done it long enough, you should be hitting away, It doesn't mean you never slap, but you should know how to hit at this stage. So I like where it is. Like Oregon had some phenomenal slap hitters out there, like just running the game, but they're doing it the right way, right? Arizona's always going to have them. Tennessee's got Savia Morgan out there doing it the right way, crushing it. You will see some for Texas Tech in Texas when they want to show slap. But it's not where it was, where you see 2 or 3 of them in a lineup not doing it the right way. But the ones that are great of it, I really do compare them to your power pitchers that are able to truly control the defense of the game. It's not for everybody, and I'm like pitching, you got to have pitching.
Right.
You don't have to have slap hitting. But if you're going to have it, you need to be doing it the right way. And the ones that are still slapping that I see today, they look pretty fundamental. The ones that are still surviving in it.
India, what did you think about the rule change? I think it was a couple years ago about the foot being on the line and calling them. I think now the foot is allowed to be on the line during the slap hit. But prior to that, I was like, if it's barely even touching it, what did you think about it? Did they change it a lot?
Yes and no. Now, when I slapped, we were able to just go rogue with it, right? So, like, I'm watching highlights and, like, there's some where it's like, geez, you need to stay in the batter's box. You need to stick by the rule. What I don't like is just making the game so much harder for umpires, right? Like, watch the pitch or don't watch the pitch. Now, when it's obvious and they're like, okay, she stepped clear in front of the plate, so I'm going to call it. Absolutely call it. Stay in the box. I guess my tip for Tat there is, like, there are a ton of kids that bunt, like sacrifice bunt or drag bunt, and they step out of the box. I remember when I was on staff at Tennessee and we're playing in South Carolina, or we were not, sorry. We're watching South Carolina play on TV, and this great hitter who will remain nameless, a lefty, goes up and she hits a bomb over the fence to win the game. And she's in the front of the box and she stepped clear out in front of the box, even on the replay. Like clear as day, but like no one, not even the commentators are saying anything about it because you don't look for it, right? So it was like, it wasn't a slap hitter's rule. It was supposed to just be a rule. Right. Baseball, softball, if you're out of the box, you're out of the box. And it's a lot of kids because you're taught to crowd the plate when you go to bunt, right? And that foot is leaving the box, but no one's saying anything. So that's where I was kind of annoyed there because it's not just slappers that exit that box. But I think fundamentally it's unnecessary. And when you're getting too wide, you are falling off of your form. So where it is now is a very healthy and safe place because you shouldn't step that wide anyway to slap. Unless you're chasing pitches off of the plate and such.
So you talked a little bit about the fundamentals and how, that's where you're seeing the improvement. So let's say someone is going to be a slapper, someone's converting. Either, it could be a natural lefty, could be a right-hander who's turning around. What do you think the first things are that they should really focus on? What's a good path to get going on that will serve you well later?
Kind of the cliff notes. Start with one hand work until you're bored. Like a lot of one hands. Just get your bat path down, top hand, bottom hand for a long time before you do anything else. Then you go into no rotation swing. So now you're swinging with 2 hands, but not worrying about rotating or using your legs or anything like that for target practice. And then get into some target practice, which is going to be more short game stuff. So like a soft slap, just chop it to shortstop and run. Use your wheels, right? Mm-hmm. Then pick up a drag bunt. And then if you really need it, go to a hard slap. But where we are at kind of the more youth level versus elite level is in college, you're seeing more of the soft slap and drag bunt, speed game, true slap hitting. In travel ball, you see a ton of power slap, which is what I always tell kids is like, okay, if I show up and I'm looking for speed, like I need to put speed in the 2026 class or something. If you Power slap, I can't see your speed because you're hitting the ball through the infield every time. I got hitters for that. Like,
yeah.
well, who are you competing with here? Like, do you want to be in the lump when I say I'm looking for a hitter, or do you want to be on the speed game? To show me your speed, I need to see you when you drop a bunt, get up the line, or soft slap, and I need to see you beat that throw or make it close. Power slap, they're just getting to first and rounding and such. So true slap hitting, elite level slap hitting, forget about the power slap. Do the fast stuff. Drop a bunt and beat it. Chop it to short and beat it. So the very last thing, and it is the hardest to do, is power slap.
How important do you think it is for slap hitters to be well-rounded versus, just doing the short game? Should they be able to swing away? Is that something they should work on?
Yeah, but I be above proficient. Like I tell them, don't be average at it before you add a tool, right? Like, and again with pitching, you need to stick fastball, changeup. You can spot a fastball to all 4 quadrants, and you can spot a changeup, right, to all 4 quadrants before you worry about a curveball or a screwball, right? But that's how we work. We don't like to slow down. So with the slap hitting, if you're fast, play for your speed. But yes, once you are very good at it, like distinguished, right? Yes, add the power slap so you can be more versatile. So now that they got to play you in, play you back, they don't know where to play you, right? Do we back up for her power, move in for her speed? And then, you don't need to be slap hitting only per se for 8 years. Like at some point, like you see all these lefties today, you understand on path swings, you're strong as an ox, swing away. And now you can do all those tools, which is just going to open up a lot more for your game.
So India, you've, again, thank you so much for joining Ken and I today. We really appreciate your time. I just want to talk a little bit more about Emory there. Again, you've made a remarkable transition. That program is winning. You've made it now farther than you did last year. Just culture-wise, what were some of the things you did with the team? You talked a little bit about the Eagles. Is there anything else you guys did during the year for culture there to help create that Emory culture that you're talking about?
Yeah, we did. Great book called Stick Together. It's a short read. It's an easy read. And the concept behind that book is you can break one stick very easily, but you can't break, a bundle of sticks. So we read that book. It has a lot of core concepts that are necessary for a team. We spent several days in the fall prepping, and we actually carried those sticks with us all year. So they were on the planes. The girls had to make sure, however they packaged them, they wouldn't break. There was one trip that they forgot the sticks, and we split with the team. And afterwards, the captains come up to me and they're like, we should just tell you, and I was like, we forgot the sticks. But we read Stick Together, great team read. I'm still in the process of figuring out what we'll read for this next year. But one thing that was really cool is, I think, is with the 20 kids, so I'm going to take 5 of them out because they were in the bullpen, but we have 15 position players on this team. Only 8 of them, including the catcher, could be on the field at once. My style of recruiting, I'm not picking up anybody to be a backup player. I'm not going to recruit someone and say you'll play in 2 years when this kid graduates. I stuck true to that all year. So we didn't have anyone truly go down all year, but they were all ready to play, and they all played. So that when someone came out, we could put in 2, 3, 4 subs, and our pitcher still had confidence, and so did everyone else around them. So culture-wise, that champion mindset wasn't just in the 9 starters or the top 12. It was everybody to be ready to go at any moment. And I made sure to give them those tough pinch hit at bats, and sometimes put them in a very tough situation, so that they know that I have confidence in them and their team does as well. Right. So that would be the second kind of pillar that I think really propelled us. And the third is playing with passion. We had a lot of fun this year. There's times where I did have to tone him down in the dugout. The comments they're saying or the cheers were a little aggressive, but they get excited, and we did not get excited last year. We got very excited this year, and I just let them play free. And I look at like Kim Mulkey, I look at Don Staley, right, that are just saying, letting these personalities shine out. And I believe in that. let them have fun and they will soar. Right.
That's
and so
awesome.
that would be the third one.
That is awesome. I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. So, India, real quick, let's say somebody's listening to this podcast. They're a high academic kid. Where can they get some information or in contact with you there at Emory if they're looking to maybe be a nurse or any other awesome, majors that Emory offers? Where could they get a hold of you or find out some information about your program there?
Yeah, Emory is a new Ivy, so it's up there with the same admission rate. We're talking 8-9% tops get in per year, 30,000 plus every year of incoming freshmen trying to get in this school. So it's come to Emory. Every degree is top tier, right? And these kids are going to work for not Fortune 500 but Fortune 50 companies and institutions. Information: go to the Emory softball website. You can see our camps from there. Even if I get a highlight reel on my email, which is ichiles@emory.edu, I'm still going to, even if I go out and see them play, I'm going to tell all of them, you got to come to Atlanta. You got to step on this campus. And for my job security, which is recruiting, I need to see you at camp. I say 99% of our kids come through camp because, one, we give them a tour when they're at prospect camp. But also, it's not just I want to play softball here. You need to see if this feels like a safe place to call home for you and your family. But you need to be on a field. I need to see you around peers, right? How you get along with others. And it was great to see you hit that home run, maybe 2 in the tournament. But I want to put you through 8 hours of work before I feel good and confident about saying, come and join our program.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Well, India, thank you so much for joining us today. We really appreciate it.
Absolutely. This was fun. Thank you.
Good. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Perhaps we'll have a chance to chat again one day.
Yeah, that's right. When we win the Women's College World Series.
It's a day.
That would be great.
That'd be
we will contact you.
We're holding you to that.
That's
Yes.
right.
Yeah.
All right, everyone. Well, that's it for us this week. Thanks to all of you for listening and the kind words you've been sharing with us. And again, a shout out to Bria. Get well, do well. Looking forward to seeing you back on the field. For everyone else, if you like what you're hearing, please remember to give us a like, leave a comment, share this podcast on your social media channels with your friends, people you think would like to know about it. If you're so inclined, you can also leave us a great review on Apple Podcasts to help more people find us. On behalf of From the Coach's Mouth podcast, have a great rest of your week and weekend.